Welcome to Think BRICS, where we delve into the complexities of global politics today. You have arrived just in time for an in-depth exploration of BRICS countries facing the Gaza crisis, Argentina's likely radical change in foreign policy under newly elected President Javier Milei, and instead the opposite path taken by Ethiopia. Why are these developments crucial, and what do they mean for countries like Argentina and Ethiopia? Let's discover these intriguing questions together. On November 21st, 2023, an urgent virtual summit of BRICS leaders, including guests from Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates, was called by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to discuss the crisis in Gaza. This meeting came after an October 7th incident where Hamas attacked Israel, resulting in over 1,200 deaths, followed by Israel's intense military retaliation causing over 13,000 Palestinian fatalities in Gaza. President Ramaphosa opened the summit labeling the situation a continuation of a decades-long ordeal of suffering and conflict stretching over 75 years. He pinpointed the illegal occupation of Palestinian lands by Israel as the conflict's core, referencing United Nations Security Council Resolution 2334. Ramaphosa urged for an immediate halt to hostilities, the establishment of humanitarian passages, control over arms supplies, the freeing of civilians, dialogue led by the United Nations, a United Nations force to oversee the ceasefire and protect civilians, and prompt war crimes trials by the International Criminal Court. He emphasized BRICS' crucial role in rallying global support. Chinese President Xi stressed the need for humanitarian access in Gaza and an end to civilian displacement. He highlighted the essential restoration of water, energy, and electricity severely impacted by Israeli bombings. Xi emphasized the two-state solution for lasting Israeli-Palestinian peace, advocating for a sovereign Palestinian state. India's Foreign Minister Jaishankar stressed the importance of dialogue and diplomacy in resolving the Israel-Palestine conflict. He emphasized the urgent need for humanitarian aid in Gaza, highlighting the suffering of civilians and the need for safe aid delivery. Jaishankar condemned the recent violence, supporting Prime Minister Modi's advocacy for peace talks. He reaffirmed India's commitment to a two-state solution and the socio-economic support of the Palestinian people. Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi encouraged BRICS to apply economic and political pressure on Israel, labeling its actions and government as terrorist. He advocated for United Nations resolution to stop Israeli actions in Gaza. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman called for halting weapon exports to Israel. He emphasized Gaza's worsening humanitarian crisis and the need for immediate action, including establishing humanitarian corridors. The prince reaffirmed Saudi Arabia's commitment to a two-state solution for Palestine's stability. Russian President Vladimir Putin highlighted the US's dominance in mediating the Israel-Palestine issue, which he argued has led to the current predicament. He called for a ceasefire and a political resolution, suggesting BRICS and regional players take the lead. Putin condemned both Hamas's initial aggression and Israel's excessive response in Gaza. This extraordinary BRICS summit signaled a deep concern over the escalating violence and humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the occupied territories. With the staggering death toll and destruction, BRICS nations are advocating for an immediate de-escalation and taking a proactive stance in the crisis resolution, pointing out the inadequacies of traditional peace efforts. While their viewpoints on who is most at fault vary, their collective resolve to actively address the tragedy is evident. Argentine Foreign Minister Santiago Cafiero, taking part in this online BRICS summit on the Middle East, signaled Argentina's engagement with this influential group. However, this may have been Argentina's last participation in BRICS events. The country's political landscape changed dramatically with the November 19th presidential election, which saw the victory of Javier Milei, leader of the party La Libertad Avanza. This result marked a potential shift in Argentina's foreign policy, especially in its relations with BRICS countries. Milei, known for his right-wing libertarian positions, has expressed reluctance to develop interstate relations with BRICS members Brazil, China, and Russia due to political disagreements. Although he does not intend to hinder private trade engagement with these countries, his focus is on strengthening ties with Israel and the United States. This perspective was echoed by his foreign policy advisor Diana Mondino, who questioned the value of Argentina's participation in BRICS after the country's admission to the group's August summit. The election of Milei, often compared to former US President Donald Trump for his unconventional approach and radical views, ushers in a new era in Argentina's international relations. His decision not to join BRICS diverges sharply from the inclinations of the previous administration. This move is not just a political statement, but a strategic reorientation that could redefine the geopolitical landscape of South America. Why this is significant? BRICS, an economic grouping symbolizing emerging global powers, challenges the traditional Western-centric world order. Argentina's potential integration into this group could have amplified its voice on the global stage. However, Milei's libertarian ideology, which advocates minimal government intervention and a free market economy, aligns more with US-led Western policies than the state models of the BRICS countries. This realignment raises critical questions. Is this change in Argentina's interest? What are the potential opportunity costs of moving away from the BRICS? While Argentina under Milei's leadership leans towards a more isolationist path, contrasting profoundly is Ethiopia's approach as a new BRICS member. At the forefront is Ethiopia's impending membership in BRICS, which will begin January the 1st. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed stressed during a recent parliamentary session that this is a step toward beneficial South-South cooperation and not a move against traditional allies. Meanwhile, the nation is still grappling with internal conflicts, especially in the Tigray region. The African Union-sponsored Ethiopia-Tigray peace agreement, commonly called the Pretoria Agreement, offers a glimmer of hope, but the road to lasting peace is fraught with complexities. The Abiy's call for peace and negotiation in its address to Parliament is more than just rhetoric. It is a clarion call for stability in a region rife with conflict. The burgeoning China-Ethiopia relationship, a testament to mutual trust and political cooperation, especially under the Belt and Road Initiative. This evolving partnership poses an intriguing question. As China's influence in Africa grows, how will it reshape the geopolitical dynamics on the continent, especially in Ethiopia? Saudi Arabia's growing engagement in Africa, exemplified by the Saudi Fund for Development's investments, including in Ethiopia, introduces a new economic dynamics to the region. This growing interest prompts us to consider the broader implications for Africa's economic and political landscape. Finally, Ethiopia's pursuit of maritime access through negotiations with neighboring countries and facing economic challenges such as debt and port fees is critical to its economic aspirations. This situation opens a discussion. How will Ethiopia overcome these economic obstacles to achieve sustainable maritime access? The U.S. perspective expressed by Secretary of State Blinken brings another dimension to this intricate geopolitical picture. By criticizing Ethiopia's domestic and regional policies, particularly its ties with Eritrea, the U.S. position raises a compelling debate. How does the United States influence the fragile balance of power in the Horn of Africa? In exploring these aspects of Ethiopia's geopolitical environment, the country's strategic decisions, regional interactions, and internal challenges provide rich ground for discussion and reflection. In Think BRICS, we bring the complex stories of world politics into the spotlight, taking a deeper look at their broader consequences. Well, our exploration is far from over. The geopolitical arena is constantly changing and presents a myriad of topics to be explored, analyzed, and understood. How do you perceive these changing global dynamics? Contribute your views in the comments to enrich our lively discourse. If you enjoyed this content, please give us a like and subscribe to receive more in-depth analysis. We look forward to the next video in which we will unveil another intriguing facet of international relations. Together, we will weave the intricate web of world politics, one in-depth conversation at a time. See you, and always, thanks for watching.